Hello, welcome back to Montreal by night. Maybe this beach is a bit too loud. It's a bit better. Doesn't yell in your face. Okay. Let's get back to Ezekiel and his supporters. Oh, let me make myself comfortable. It's not a Montreal by night if I'm not shirtless. Oh, right. That's the way. Oh. So, Ezekiel and his supporters. Oh, no, yeah, I wanted to try something new. Can I do that? And then. Ooh. That's fancy. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of nicer to have the whole page and just the highlight on what's going on. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna give it a shot, and if it doesn't work well enough, or if it's not cute enough, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The Return of Sangri. Ezekiel. Sorry, I'm already losing track. The Return of Sangri's child, Ezekiel, has electrified Montreal. A bold and powerful force for change, Ezekiel has presented himself as the only candidate strong and skillful enough to restore the city to greatness. So far, Ezekiel has attracted support from the wildest packs, les orphelins and the wretched. But his leadership is also attractive to the wise and cautious vampires of the city. 2517. Absolution and a frozen room are the dreams of men below. I try to grab it, but the torch is hot. The mirror collapses, but the image came not. I am scared of the darkness in the light. I scare myself because I know I am right. Ministry burning side. Dynamism and determination best describe the pack 2517. While Montreal contains a number of old Sabbath, 2517 stands as the herald for the young. What makes Ezekiel's coven different is that although it embodies the strength, loyalty, and freedom of the Sabbath, it does so without the chaotic mindlessness that characterize other packs. The members of 2517 are not rebels without a cause, but crusaders and holy warriors. Their ambition and loyalty to the sect have made them guardians of the Sabbath and its ways. Ezekiel and his followers believe it's their responsibility to lead their brothers and sisters to glory, and Montreal is the first step on that path. In the mid 1980s, Ezekiel and Soldar, Ezekiel's mentor, created 2517. It became one of the leading packs during the 1991 attack on Chicago. Soon after the war, Ezekiel was called back to Montreal to testify at the trial of his sire Sangri. After his sire's execution, Ezekiel was determined to claim what he believed to be his death right, the Archdiocese of Montreal. Despite Ezekiel's determination and ambition, his motives have never been selfish. He is driven by the desire to lead the Sabbath into a new golden age. The actions of 2517 over the past few years have led many to label the pack loyalists, but the truth is very different. Members of 2517 have, on a number of occasions, directly disobeyed what they perceived to be weak orders. Their actions, however, have always resulted in gain for the Sabbath, sparing them from punishment. The Coven understand that gain rapidly approaches. The packmates see this as a time for action, not debate. The Sabbath needs to prepare, to groom leaders. This attitude put 2517 squarely in the Sabbath ultra-conservative faction. Okay. Since the Coven's arrival in Montreal, it has become the most active and vocal faction against the appointment of Carolina Valles. The pack believe that Montreal should be led by those who are fit, not by those appointed by cardinals who have lost touch with the Sabbath. Les Orphelins and the Wretched openly support Ezekiel's plan for the archdiocese. Others, including a number of packs from New York, such as the Disciples of the Black Brood, which is led by Ezekiel's progeny Christophais Black, secretly back 2517. So far, Ezekiel has avoided resorting to force to take power, knowing that it is only a matter of time before Valles makes a mistake. The real threat to 2517 comes from the shepherds. Their age, connection to the Inquisition, and the popular belief that Montreal is their city makes them 2517's greatest rivals. Even if not outwardly, Ezekiel bides his time, waiting for an opening through which to strike the shepherds. The lair. Upon his return to Montreal, Ezekiel established 2517's lair in Ravenscrag, a 19th century mansion that was used was used as an insane asylum until the late 1960s. Ravenscrag is located just above McGill's University in the Golden Square Mile, near the Royal Victoria Hospital. Ezekiel has opened part of the home as a nightclub, Angels Falls. Rights and practices. Vindication. 2517's right involves challenges that force members to overcome their personal weaknesses. Once a year, every Coven member has to prove her strength, worth, and determination to her fellows. During the vindication rite, the member is impaled on a large pole and left to hang. As the pole slowly passes through her heart, she must utter her deeds and accomplishments that honor her coven. Overcoming the pain involves great will and faith in one's ability. Those who fail to vindicate themselves are left for the unforgiving sun. Stuff. Ezekiel, Lord of Montreal. Background. When Sangre was publicly convicted of infernalism during the Inquisition, he knew that the one thing that would redeem his soul was his child, Ezekiel. Sangre believed that Ezekiel was the one good thing that could never be taken from him. The young mortal spent a number of years by Sangre's side, slowly learning the ways of the Sabbath. His creation rite was one of the most elaborate ceremonies that the Sabbath of Montreal had ever witnessed. Even Cardinal Strathcona attended. When Ezekiel rose from his grave the following night, a profound change had overcome him. His youthful naivety. Is it the way they write naivete in English? They use the French word? Naivety. And innocent charm were replaced by a dark intensity. The shepherd acknowledged him that night, and Raphael, in a moment of lucidity, pro Ezekiel's future would shine like a dying star. Okay, so no, that's. Oh. Okay, naivety. Wow. Ezekiel's early existence was spent under the wise tutelage of the librarians. He learned the ways of the Sabbath and Cainite history. When his studies permitted, he followed his sire, learning the ways of power. Sangri was more than a father or mentor. He was the embodiment of power and destiny for the young serpent. Sangri, aware of his child's almost unnatural ambition and adoration, forced him to join the Black Hand to protect the child against demonic influence. The night Ezekiel departed for his training in the Black Hand was the last night he saw Sangri as Archbishop of Montreal. As a member of the Black Hand, Ezekiel accepted a number of suicide missions and earned a name for himself as a ruthless fighter and shrewd leader. Ezekiel, Soldat, and their Black Hand Circle were responsible for destroying a number of Chicago elders during the Sabbath Lupine Camarilla War in the early 90s. After the war, Ezekiel returned to Montreal to testify at Sangri's trial. During the trial, Ezekiel was found innocent of corruption, but was present when Sangri was convicted of infernalism and apparently perished in flames. Ezekiel was deeply hurt by Sangri's betrayal, but ultimately understood that this sire fell because of the current weakness in the Sabbath. Since that day, he has vowed to lead the Sabbath away from bickering and infighting, back to the glory it had during the Anarch Revolt. Now Ezekiel and his pack have returned to Montreal to claim the destiny that is his. Ezekiel has the body of a 16-year-old boy. His limbs are lithe and strong. His face expresses adult experience and childhood innocence. Yet his dark eyes and skin make him both alluring and intimidating. An inner power exudes from you, a presence even your opponent can sense. You are ambitious, determined, and intense, a combination which could propel you to greatness or plummet you to hell. Speak in a low voice, forcing others to hang on every word. Ezekiel's tenure away from Montreal has put him at a disadvantage. He only knows who the major players are and isn't aware of others' subtle schemes. Ezekiel suspects that De Soto, the former inquisitor, wants to destroy him as De Soto did his sire. Both Soldat and Pierre Bellemare are interested in seeing Ezekiel prosper, but are unaware of the other's influence over Ezekiel. This deadlock has allowed Ezekiel to forge his own path. If pride doesn't blind him, his future in the Sabbath might be bright. Serpent of the Light. Okay. I'm gonna do Soldat, I guess. Benjamin Harris returned from World War One, like so many of the lost generation. Empty, bitter, and above all else disillusioned. Even years later, during the roaring 20s, Benjamin could not silence the voice of his dead comrades. A loving family man, Benjamin tried to keep his dark side in check. He finally caved in exactly 10 years after his return. That night, he killed his family, hanging his son and daughter and burning his wife alive. Benjamin vanished into the night with the police and the Sabbath, who were impressed by his deed, hot on his tail. A Sabbath gangrel named Nancy Tarr got him first. Benjamin's anger and aggression were sublimated by the rituals and purpose of the sect. Calling himself Soldat, he joins the Black Hand and dutifully served the Sabbath, but refused to live up to his leadership potential, preferring to be a follower. Soldat was one of Ezekiel's mentors, and the two developed a close friendship. Soldat believed that Ezekiel has the potential to better the Sabbath. In turn, the young serpent appreciated the gangrel's keen intellect, which lies beneath his tough exterior. Soldat is an impressive figure. Standing over 6 feet tall, his face is strong and firm, framed by shoulder-length blonde hair. Soldat is known for wearing World War I era pants and a brown leather trench coat. He sometimes carries a set of bagpipes and plays them during war parties and pack rides. You play the part of the soldier. Your demeanor and actions are bold and dashing. Never back down from a fight, but don't go in blindly either. Under your stern exterior, you are a shrewd thinker, always planning to turn matters to Ezekiel's favor. Although you refuse to admit it, you have the potential to be a skillful elder and may someday decide that your time has come. Soldat occasionally meets with Archbishop Valles in hopes that she and Ezekiel can come to an understanding without resorting to war. Oh. Why is he doing that now? Okay. Oh. This is annoying. Can I zoom in? Okay, I was not doing that before, so I'm a bit annoyed. Why is it doing that now? This is so weird. No, no, no. Reza Fatir is the newest member of 2517. He was indoctrinated into the Sabbath and the Pack during the War for Chicago. Reza's and Ezekiel's first encounter proved almost fatal for both. They stood on opposing sides. Reza was under contract to search out and destroy Sabbath operatives in Chicago. Ezekiel and 2517 escaped Reza's first attempt to destroy them, and a game of cat and mouse ensued, each taking turn at being the hunter. In the end, it was Ezekiel who surprised the Assamite, and a duel began that lasted the entire night as both rivals exchanged blows. Sorry. Picture size. Zoom in. Okay. Respect for each other's group. Yeah. The respect for each other's group. Ezekiel tried to enlighten Reza to the purpose of the Sabbath, telling Reza between blows that he was warring himself to the Camarilla while his clan suffocated under the yoke of the Treaty of Tyre. Reza tried to remain true to his mission, but the serpent's words struck home. Reza thought of the ancient glory of Alamut and of how the Camarilla had indeed sold itself. Reza made his decision. As sunrise approached, Reza fought ferociously. Ezekiel's determination was no match for Reza's disciplines and skill, and within a few minutes, Ezekiel lay helpless. Without saying a word, Reza vanished, allowing Ezekiel to leave. The following night, Reza tracked Ezekiel down and offered his service to the serpent and the Sabbath. Ezekiel accepted both. Reza's creation rite was a long and drawn-out affair. It tested Reza's physical and mental limits. The ceremony culminated with the destruction of Reza's sire. The Samite has been loyal to Ezekiel ever since, grateful to the serpent for opening his eyes to the truth that so many Assamites have ignored. Reza's features are distinctly Middle Eastern. His hair is short, except for a long braided ponytail that is tied with gold rings. For each of his skills, there are 23. Reza wears suits that lend him a simple yet powerful elegance. During war parties and crusades, he wears traditional robes. In many ways, you are the spiritual leader of 2517. Your quiet and contemplative ways often contrast the coven's flashy nature. You are soft spoken, often quoting from the Quran and offering wisdom to those who are willing to listen. In combat, you are brutal, fierce, and efficient. A Samaritan tribute that is of a judgy nature and traditionalist demeanor, Generation 9. Unbeknownst even to Reza, is not susceptible to the bloodbound. As a result, he has no vinculum rating for any Sabbath. His feelings of loyalty for Ezekiel are genuine, not induced through blood. Interesting. Okay, 26 minutes. I guess I can finish Yasmin the Black before stopping for Les Orphelins. Yasmin, an archaeology student, was involved in a dig in eastern Lebanon when her party came across an ancient tomb. Unbeknownst to her, Magnus, the British Tremere, anti-tribute and backer of the project, was searching for the lair of Sukhmet, an ancient follower of Set. The anti-tribute used the archaeologists to uncover the tomb and chose to reward them with death. As Magnus and his packmates killed the mortals, Sukhmet rose from torpor and attacked the Sabbath war party. He would have destroyed them all had Yasmin, in a panic, not staked the ancient with a shovel. Magnus seized that opportunity to leap on Sukhmet and drained him until only ashes remained. Magnus embraced Yasmin, right there sealing her from the surviving archaeologists in the tomb. The following night, she arose with Magnus' Sukhmet's blood running through her veins. In a frenzy, she devoured her co-workers and dug her way to the surface where Magnus awaited. In the years that followed, Yasmin traveled with Magnus, learning of and developing her dramaturgical abilities. She eventually left Magnus, joined the Black Hand, and quickly rose through the ranks given her dramaturgical expertise. It was during his period that Yasmin met Ezekiel. At first, she disliked him, but she soon grew to understand the serpent and agreed to join his pack. She did so primarily because of her interest in discovering who Sukhmet really was. Yasmin hopes that after Ezekiel becomes Archbishop of Montreal, she will be allowed to join the librarians and finally learn the history of the mysterious Methuselah. Yasmin plays up a mystic image. She wears dark hooded robes adorned with symbols and markings. She possesses a mysterious and exotic beauty. Her naturally red hair contrasts with her almost yellow eyes, which she never blinks. When you speak, you do so in a low whisper. Never let anyone see your eyes, for they are the windows to your soul. Yasmin dreams have forced her to witness things that would make most vampires, even the Sabbath, cringe. She knows that Sukhmet met his end, yet in the back of her mind has doubt. Many of the visions she has ends with Sukhmet rising upon Gehenna and devouring her. This only strengthens her desire to discover as much as she can about the Setit, so that she can determine if her nightmares represent her unconscious fear or a dark reality. She's a tremere of an architect nature. She is of generation 7. And next, we're gonna do Les Orphelins. By the pricking of my thumb. Something wicked this way comes. Oh, that's I didn't see you on the guest list for the dinner party. What's his name? Let me find it for you. I know exactly where to find it. I didn't see you at the party. Might as well.
What do you...
By the word gay.
The Nosferatu hacker and information broker Bertrand Tum.
The one and only.
I don't have the preview.
Conversation with. If it's the vile, ambitious, and Machiavellian Prince Sebastian Lacroix, who was an officer himself, actually, in Napoleon's ranks.
Let me
I was an officer myself, actually. In Napoleon.
disconnect that. So I have the preview on my phone. Supposed to. Come on.
Speech patterns and impediments, vocabulary, unique sets of gestures and facial expressions, mannerisms, and attitudes towards other characters, as well as many subtle pieces of backstory that often only briefly surface during conversations. All that evokes the impression that each character you come across has a vastly deeper personal history than you will ever be able to uncover in this game alone.
Individualism is a path fraught with obstacles and sometimes angry mobs. But for all its hardships, it is the only one worth taking.
But the writing itself is only one half of the equation. You could take the original script of The Godfather, but if you cast Neil Breen for the role of Don Vito Corleone, you'd get a steaming pile of turd, despite the brilliant writing. In the case of games like Planescape Torment, which is still the best game I've ever read, you wouldn't have to worry about delivery since it's all text. But Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines is 3D, first person, and 100% of the dialogue is voiced by real actors. Put a lot of time and effort into fleshing them out, providing them with more personality than just the bare minimum for the primary role in the story. Characteristic speech patterns and impediments, vocabulary, unique sets of gestures and facial expressions, mannerisms, and attitudes towards other characters, as well as many subtle pieces of backstory that often only briefly surface during conversations. All that evokes the impression
Path fraught with
itself is only one half of the equation. You could take the original script of The Godfather, but if you cast Neil Breen for the role of Don Vito Corleone, you'd get a steaming pile of turd, despite the brilliant writing. In the case of games like Planescape Torment, which is still the best game I've ever read, you wouldn't have to worry about delivery since it's all text. But Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines is 3D, first person, and distasteful or plump. And it's really one of the rare cases in which a video game made me cry of laughter on occasion. And not necessarily because a joke was just super funny or something, but because it kept delivering lines so cleverly written, so ingeniously in character, and that hit the nail on the head with such relentless precision that it makes me constantly smile out of a mixture of sheer amusement and admiration.
By the clack-smack cracking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. I don't remember seeing you on the guest list for the dinner party.
There you go, 11 minutes in that love letter. So, on this note, I will to the orphelin, les orphelins, un autre jour. And I hope you have a good night, and I will see you another day. Maybe.